Hello everyone, welcome to the MudRoom, our weekly free uncommon sense parenting class. How is everyone today? We just got back from Florida, but this is pre-recorded, so unfortunately I don't have a tan yet. But I'm sure we had a great time and that I posted all about it on Insta, so if you're really curious, you can hop on over there and follow along. I hope all of you Americans are ready for your Thanksgiving. Tonight and on Black Friday, we'll be doing 3 live classes on how to get your kids to listen and end tantrums without stickers, counting to 3, or losing your shit. Our first one is tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then we have one at 1:30 p.m. Eastern and 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Black Friday. So if you haven't signed up for those, make sure that you head on over to prnt.link/register and grab your seat. It's totally free. We're going to be hanging out and I'm going to be dropping some knowledge that will help you start 2023 off on the right foot with your kiddos, because you know that this year has been a complete gong show and we're ready for a fresh slate in the new year. All right, so today we're talking about separation anxiety. This certainly isn't a new topic, but it has a bit of a new spin on it now since we've all got these COVID babies growing up and moving out into the world, and many of them have had a really hard time now that they're expected to exist much more separate from their parents than they have in the last 2 years. It's been cropping up in the parenting posse and in Parentability, so let's talk about it. Before we go there though, allow me to introduce myself for those of you who are new around here. Hi, my name is Alana Robinson and I'm a parenting coach for parents of toddlers, preschoolers, and kindergartners. I help you understand why your children are misbehaving and how to fix it without stickers, counting to 3, or losing your shit. I'm the host here on the MudRoom. I'm also the host of the Parenting Posse Facebook group, and I'm the creator of the Parentability program where I help you raise well-behaved kids who listen. If you aren't yet, please make sure to like and or subscribe depending on what platform you're catching this on. There's a few: Facebook, YouTube, podcast, blog. We like to release content in all the different formats so that everyone can learn the way that they learn best. And to that end, leaving a review or a comment helps other parents find us so that we can help them too. So thanks for that, solid. Okay, separation anxiety. This can crop up at any point in a child's life, but what it can be boiled down to is a feeling of being unsafe. Children, no matter their age, like the status quo. Familiarity, consistency, and predictability help kids feel safe because there's no surprises. If you can anticipate how someone will act, what the sequence of events are, how any given situation usually plays out, what food you'll be expected to eat, you feel safe. You feel safe because you're able to budget your energy. You know what demands will be put on you and that you can most likely meet them. So it isn't stressful. Remember, as we've talked about on the episode on stress and stress behavior, the more energy we have at any given moment, the safer we feel, because low energy is risky. If we get attacked and we don't have any energy to defend ourselves or adjust to a new demand, we're kind of screwed. I like to use the analogy of the Wi-Fi going out because I think everyone can relate to that. You know, when you sit down and you've got something to do or something to look up, often it's like the smallest, most necessary task, but it should be quick, right? Like checking your bank balance or sending a quick but time-sensitive email. And you go to do it, and nothing will load. And then you check the Wi-Fi, and there's no Wi-Fi. That feeling, that frustrated, almost fearful feeling, you're not scared. There's nothing attacking you. There's no physical danger. But even though you already know what you have to do, I'm sorry, but as a millennial in your 30s, Wi-Fi meltdowns are not new. You just didn't anticipate it. You weren't expecting to have to do this right now. And then by the time you go through the whole rigmarole of trying to get the computer to connect, restarting the Wi-Fi, restarting the computer, restarting the router, calling your ISP, troubleshooting with them, restarting the computer again, and you're finally online, you're exhausted. You've probably run way over whatever time you thought this teeny tiny little task was going to take, and you've certainly spent way more energy than you thought you would. As an adult, that's all well and good. We know, most of us, how to take a wee break and get back to it. But for a child who doesn't know how to self-regulate and for whom those unexpected detours happen frequently and often without very much warning, because they aren't in charge of their time and their life, they can feel catastrophic and they can feel physically dangerous. And when you're 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6, and have spent the majority of your life being cared for by 1 or 2 people, suddenly those unexpected detours are literally everywhere. How are these new people going to react when I say no? Or when I need to pee? Can I count on these people to keep me safe? Can I count on them to not get upset with me when I can't meet their expectations? What food are they going to give me? What happens if I get hurt? What happens if I'm feeling sad or confused? I've only ever experienced mom or dad in these scenarios. There's too much unknown. I have to be on high alert because I don't know the answer to any of these questions. And if I have to be on this high alert, then I'm probably not safe, right? So the key when addressing separation anxiety with kids is to amp up the predictability and consistency and make these unfamiliar people and environments familiar enough through continuous exposure. This is why I said that dads have to have a job when you have an infant in the house, because if baby never experiences dad taking care of them, they're going to get the message that dad is incompetent at taking care of them. And that's terrifying. If you are fully reliant on someone to care for you and keep you safe, as young children are, and you have never seen this person care for you, of course you won't feel safe with them. But if dad always does my bath and mom trusts him to care for me in that scenario, then it's highly likely that he's also competent in other areas and therefore no big deal when he feeds me or puts me to bed. If your child is showing separation anxiety and you aren't leaving them in the care of others on a semi-routine basis, I'm having difficulty with my words today, that's step 1, okay? Find a babysitter, make a schedule with grandma, get dad to pick up a routine that he's going to be in charge of, find a drop-in program, get your BFF to come hang out with them, whatever. But find a way to leave your child with unfamiliar people on a semi-consistent basis. It doesn't have to be all day, but it does have to be part of your routine or else it won't become familiar. You can make these separations easier by having consistent documented routines. You know how much I love my visuals. Well, this is another reason that I love visuals, because if you have a consistent routine posted, then literally anyone can take it over and it will still be consistent because you're referring to the same process. You're doing it in the same order. And therefore, the only inconsistencies are the small, minor execution ones. Those are a lot easier to adapt to or to ignore. And whether those routines are your big whole day routine or your smaller routines like bedtime or getting ready to go outside, documenting those allow you to identify any holes and plug them before you hand them off to somebody else. You can create consistency in the separation itself. If you have a standing drop-off spot every Wednesday, then your child will be able to predict that separation and after an adjustment period will begin to anticipate it. If you go to girls' night every Saturday night and leave kiddo with dad, they will begin to anticipate it. The unfamiliar becomes familiar through repetition. I like to use my social stories to prep my kids for new situations. I explain why I'm going to be leaving them, how long I'll be gone, what to do if they miss me, where I'll be, when I'm coming back, where the bathroom is, who to ask if they're sad or scared or upset, how to ask for food, all the little things the kids worry about because at home, they just happen. Having that advanced preparation and often even role-playing it with them means they enter into every new situation feeling really confident and prepared. And over the years, I've had to do it less and less because they're now able to generalize those skills to all new situations, right? When my child walks into a new situation, he already has those experiences from all the previous new situations that inform what his expectations are of the new one. And therefore, it makes it a lot less scary. The key is to focus on how you can help your child feel safe versus how you can reassure her. Reassurance comes off as a blow-off to children. They tell us they don't feel safe when we go, "But you are safe!" And to them, that negates this very innate feeling that they have, so they begin to not trust themselves and their own emotions too, which, as you can imagine, can have some serious negative impacts long term. So rather than reassure your child, problem solve. If they're old enough to articulate their fear, ask them what they're worried about and address it. Tell them what to do in that situation or what will happen. When I was an early interventionist, I was working in a kindergarten classroom, and a little girl in the class had intense separation anxiety. You could hear her shrieks from the parking lot. She was panicked. Now, she wasn't my client, so I really had no right to stick my nose into it. But after a few weeks, the teacher lamented to me that this just wasn't getting any better and asked if I had any suggestions. So I asked if they'd asked what her concerns were, and it turns out nobody actually had thought to do that. So the next morning, I went out to the front door with the teacher, and I took her hand to bring her inside, and I empathized that it was scary when Daddy left, and she didn't know when he'd be back, and she did the sad, head nod thing that kids do. And I said, "Do you know when he's coming back?" And she shook her head. So I asked if that's why she was scared when he left, or was there something else scary about school? And she said, "What if he doesn't come back for me?" And I asked, why did she think Daddy wouldn't come back? And she had a list, planes, trains, automobiles, natural disasters, dinosaurs, bears, work emergencies. So I asked if she knew what an emergency contact list was. And she was like, no, because she was 5. So I brought her to the office and I asked if we could look at her emergency contact list. And I showed her that if Daddy couldn't pick her up for whatever reason, Mom and Dad had given us a list of safe people to call who could take care of her. And I asked if she knew who Grandma was. And she giggled and was like, yeah, that's my grandma. Okay, so if Mom and Dad can't get you, Grandma will be the first person that we call. If Grandma can't get you, do you know who Naomi is? And she was like, yeah, that's my babysitter. Oh, good. So if Grandma can't come, Naomi will. And then we went down the list of 4 names, and that was the end of it. She just literally did not know what would happen to her if she was left at school and Daddy couldn't pick her up. And then about a week later, she started freaking out again, and I asked again what was up. And she told me that she was worried because Grandma and Naomi and Aunt Eva and Uncle Ken and all the people on her list had never picked her up. So what if they can't find me? So we talked to Dad, and we told him that he needed to arrange for her emergency contacts to pick her up occasionally. And again, problem solved. We focus so much on reassuring them that we rarely take the time to explain to them on their level how we've already accounted for that concern or what will happen in whatever unlikely scenario that they've built up in their mind. So to recap, the way through work, man, I really am having a hard time with my words today. To recap, the way to work through separation anxiety is to create consistency in routines, consistently expose them to being cared for by other people, and address any strange kid worries that they may have. I hope that gives you an idea how to proactively address separation anxiety. As always, if you'd like to continue the conversation, I invite you to come join us in the Parenting Posse. The link is in the description. And if you'd like to learn more about how we solve behavior challenges in Uncommon Sense Parenting, make sure you sign up for one of those free classes this week. I'd love to see you there. And again, the link is prnt.link/register. All right, have a fantastic week, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving, Americans, and I'll see you next week for our last MudRoom of 2022. Bye!